To demonstrate my method for auditing the branding and design elements of your business website, I've chosen two motels in Prince Edward County, Ontario. I'm going to analyze and compare these two sites so you can get an idea of how to apply a critical eye to your own. As a disclaimer, I found these websites through a Google search because I wanted to demonstrate a branding audit specifically for the hospitality industry. I don't know the people who run either business. I've never stayed there, and my remarks are designed to be purely instructive and constructive. Okay, so let's start with the Lakeside Village Inn of Wellington, Ontario. So, at first glance, this is a decent, if dated, website. Let's go home. All right. It looks to me like something a small business owner who didn't know anything about websites or design paid a local person to make for them years ago. Maybe that business owner doesn't really know how to update it. Maybe they think a website is a static thing that doesn't need updating. I'm not sure. The business inspired some confidence in me at first glance. As a potential customer, right off the bat, I believe that this is a legitimate business. But I don't think staying there would be the highlight of my visit to Prince Edward County. The actual layout of the page with the box that doesn't reach the margins and the different textures and backgrounds. You can see here there's a diamond pattern, there's stitching, there's these vines here inside of this box. It feels very early 2000s to me, and that leads me to assume that the inn itself hasn't been updated or really cared for in a long time because the website has been left to languish. If the taste level of a website is mediocre, I have to assume that the aesthetics of the inn will be pretty mediocre too. And frankly, there's a lot of competition in the category of mediocre motels. My honest reaction to this website is that it looks fine, but I'd only want to stay here if I could get the room for a very cheap price. They're really not competing on anything else with this website. Another feature of the website that leads me to think that the business isn't very well tended is the news section. This is meant to be a blog, but if we look here, it's only been updated twice. Once in 2015 and once in 2013. It would look better for this inn if it didn't have a news section at all, rather than having one that's been kind of pitifully neglected. It's unfortunate because this business is really missing a trick by not sharing imagery and information about all the brilliant things to do in the area. If they did write a post or a series of posts about these types of things, then when people who plan to be in Wellington search for places to eat, drink, and do fun things, they could be bringing up this inn's website on Google and falling in love with it for accommodation. But that can never happen because the owners of this business are not actively posting useful content that helps potential customers to choose them and get the most out of their experience when they do, which is kind of the point of the website. Okay, now let's go back to the front page and look at the branded elements more specifically to see how the entire look and feel of this place is coming together. So, the color scheme of this website, I think is actually very appropriate. I like the simple white, gray, and black scheme punctuated by blue and green in the buttons here. It makes sense to me for a leafy lakeside retreat, and the colors certainly aren't complicated or garish. I've mentioned that I don't love background textures, again, like the diamond and the stitching and the vines, because to me they seem dated, but the overall feel of the page is simple and easy on the eyes, and that's good. If we look at the fonts, so the heading font here and the body font here are all a simple sans serif, which is a bit of a non-design statement. It's plain and it's easy to read, which is good, but the plainness probably adds to the overall impression that this inn is not going to wow a visitor looking for a really chic, aesthetically pleasing place to stay. The fonts come across as functional and nothing more. If we scroll up, the logo to me also feels a little bit dated, but actually I'm not so worried about that. I think with other updates to the branding, the logo itself could be charming in the way that it harkens back to the kinds of motor inns we know from childhood family road trips. So I don't mind it. I do think the imagery is particularly letting this motel website down. And if I were to advise the business owner, I'd urge them to spend a little on a decent photographer and styled shots of their property. They have got a video here that was obviously done by a drone operator that pans over aerial shots and eye level shots of the property. But I think it could use a little bit more styling up. The cover image, for example, which is obviously a still from this aerial video, it doesn't actually show anything connective. There are no people in it. There's no building in it. It doesn't give a sense of what it feels like to enjoy staying at this place. I feel like this image comes across as rather detached. They actually say here that the inn is located in the village, surrounded by incredible fun things to do, but there are no photos of any of that, so it's impossible to tell in context. The rooms themselves down here, I think we can agree they're looking a little tired, but again, if they were priced right, I would certainly stay there. I just recommend not leading with those pictures. I think larger photos styled with people enjoying the spaces would be much better. And as a general rule, small photos that are hard to see, I kind of have to squint at these, they're actually an antitrust cue. Also, photos that don't match in their dimensions throw off the symmetry of your site and make it look less professional. So in terms of whether the website actually looks and functions the way I'd expect a hotel website to look and function, I would say that it does. The information is easy to find, the navigation is simple, and I appreciated that about this website. I don't think the site takes full advantage of its opportunity to build the know-like trust factor with potential customers, though. If we look at the About page, it doesn't actually say anything about who the owners are or show a picture of the team. There's no story to this place. They do have a video, which again is great for showing the location, but I wish it was bigger, more prominently positioned, and more connective. As I said, it consists of aerial drone shots and pans around the property, but there are no people in it. We can't see anyone enjoying the place, so it doesn't give a sense of how lovely it would be to stay at this inn. I will say the video has been viewed 4,718 times since it was posted in 2014, which is brilliant and goes to show that people really are hungry for more information about this business. It's difficult for me to tell by looking at this website who the ideally qualified customer for this business is. If it's families, I wish that there was more information about staying with kids and photos of families having fun on the motel grounds. If it's for city people on weekend getaways, that could also be represented in helpful blog posts and lovely imagery. At the moment, the website is purely functional and pitched from the perspective of the business owner. It says, here's our business, here are our prices, book here. It doesn't take the perspective of a customer who wants to know if this place is perfect for them into account. Does this site stand up to its competition? Well, sort of. There are a lot of small motels with no websites, or worse websites, so in that sense, these business owners are doing better than most. They have some photos, they have a video, their site is easy to use. But it's not sophisticated or particularly design savvy, so compared with businesses who really get it, no, I don't think they're competing in that same league. Let's contrast this website now with the Jun Motel. This place opened up in Prince Edward County in the spring of 2017. The physical motel and all the branding around it have been designed with the internet and social media savvy customers in mind. They're making your Instagrammable dreams come true in this place, and the strategy is paying off. This motel is constantly booked out, and the freshness of their approach has been so noteworthy that they've garnered an incredible amount of free publicity just for looking great and having really smart, connective messaging. So let's look at how they've done it. Immediately, the first impression this site makes is that it's like a breath of fresh air. This is a business that gets it. The design elements are beautiful and perfectly calibrated to draw in a particular kind of customer who loves a particular kind of aesthetic. They've made some bold choices, but to me this says, if you can't round up your girlfriends and get away to Palm Springs for the weekend, this is the next best option. The logo and the fonts in the body of the text mix handwriting with a sleek sans serif. The handwriting font feels bespoke and personal, while the body font feels modern and tailored. That pairing is a great trick for getting an overall impression that's cool, not cutesy. Big, beautiful images up top show exactly who this place is courting, or rather, they depict an aspirational vision of how that customer would love to see herself. Rather than just putting up pictures of the rooms, the Jun leads with images that evoke feelings, stories, and a lifestyle that appeals to each of the senses. On the front page, the website's navigation feels categories for each type of thing a customer might enjoy doing. So again, rather than focusing on selling you a room, they're showing you everything else that comes with the experience of staying at the Jun. As you scroll down a little, you are then told a story about why the place is so special, and how special you're going to feel when you stay there. The designers of this site build so much anticipation about this beautiful place by propelling users to delve deeper into the website to find out more about the rooms, rates, and availability. They've made me feel like I'd be lucky if I could get a room here, because it's so beautiful and unique. Scroll down further to the bottom of the page and look at the social media links. They've even included a link to their Spotify page so that you can listen at home to the playlist pumping at the bar at the Jun. Talk about setting a mood. It's genius. If you look at their blog, it's constantly being updated. The latest post is about things to do in autumn in the county, and the posts feature local businesses and activities of the kind of people who are attracted to the Jun would enjoy. So even if I've never heard of the Jun Motel, but I think it might be nice to visit the wineries in Prince Edward County, if I did a Google search for that, it's likely that I would find this website's content either in the search results page or on the Google Images page, because a lot of people flip straight into Google Images when they search. That's why it's important, by the way, that all photos on your website have been described properly in the alt texts. It means that not only does this blog help the Jun's customers plan their trip and get the most out of their stay, it's also a marketing tool to drive new prospective customers to their site. That is smart. I also want to call out the Jun Motel's About page, because it actually features a photo of the owners. And as much as a lot of business owners don't want to plaster their faces all over the internet, for a variety of totally sane reasons, I'd argue that building trust is one of the most important functions of any branded assets, like your website or your social media, and that people are more likely to get to know you, like you, and trust you as a brand if they are aware that there's a face and a real-life person behind it. So that's something to keep in mind. Certainly these ladies are not all over the Jun Motel website, but I think their choice to show up on the About page is really smart, and I'd urge all business owners to consider doing this. Site succeeds by unapologetically attracting a particular kind of customer and designing everything about the business, from the website to the services offered on the ground, to appeal to her.